Hi, welcome to EC&M Asks. I'm Randy Barnett. Just some short Q&A then on some different topics in the electrical world. Today we've got some questions on safety rules in construction work, sizing the equipment grounded conductor, and actually a couple of NEC questions. And one kind of good question I like on new technology. Anyway, so somebody asked, are there any electrical safety rules that are relaxed for construction work? And I'm like, well, no. I mean, now there are two separate sets of rules, right? If we look in OSHA 1926, subpart K, those are electrical safety construction rules, or electrical construction rules, I should say. And it has a lot to do with installation work, temporary installation, GFCIs, and things like that. Lots of good information. A lot of the work practices, or the work practices that we use to actually work on a lot of this construction equipment out in the field, are found out in NFPA 70E, the standard for electrical safety in the workplace. As I always say, electrical current doesn't matter. If it wants to go through your body, it's going to go through your body, right? It doesn't care if you're a construction worker or a maintenance worker, homeowner, whatever it is you're doing. We've got to be careful, so we follow all the rules. So no really relaxed rules then when it comes just to electrical safety for construction. Sizing of the equipment grounding conductor in the NEC. Oh, that's pretty simple. You just go to table 250.122, right? And table 250.122, I look at the size of the overcurrent protection in my circuit, and that's how I size my equipment grounding conductor. Well, yeah, okay. And that makes sense because if you think about it, what's protecting your equipment grounding conductor? If I get a ground fault in my system and that available fault current tries to flow to that ground fault, what's going to protect me? What's protecting my phase conductors? The fuse of the circuit breaker, the overcurrent protection. It trips and clears the fault for me. It's also protecting what? It would stop the current flow through the equipment grounding conductor, and that would protect you. So the table 250.122 is pretty straightforward, but pay attention to it. It says, if I look at the note at the bottom, the note now, it's part of the table. It says, where necessary to comply with 250.4A5 and B4 and so on. That has to do with my performance requirements for my grounding systems. It says the equipment grounding conductor shall be sized larger than given in this table. Oh, so yeah, okay, I can make it larger. It refers you back in that note as well to the installation requirements in Article 120. But I also want to point out 250.122, the section itself, and it's titled Size of Equipment Grounding Conductors. First thing it tells me is that my equipment grounding conductor doesn't have to be any larger than my phase conductors, which makes sense. And then it says if I have to upsize, so in section 250.122b, if for any reason I have to make my phase conductors larger, and I always give the example of voltage drop, right? So if I haven't increased the size of my conductors because I have a voltage drop issue, I also have to increase the size of my equipment grounding conductor by the same proportion. That's a good test question, isn't it? Because why? Now I get into chapter 9 and table 8 and maybe circular mill areas of conductors and how I have to figure all that out. So anyway, be aware of 250.122.8 then. And then also in 250.122 section C is where we find a provision that says, hey, you can have, several circuits in a conduit, obviously. You only need one equipment grounding conductor. You have that option, I should say. Okay. So take a look at 250.122 then. Next question. And it says, is there one location in the code that tells me all locations where all GFCIs are installed? And my first thought was, well, no. I mean, I go to 210.8 and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there about dwelling units and other than dwelling units and I don't know, boat houses, whatever, There's some more stuff in there now on appliances. But there is one location I can go. If you go to the index, so go to the back of your NEC, take a look in the index and look under those ground fault circuit interrupters. And there's a list a mile long like swimming pools. It's not in 210.8, but it's covered, in the article on swimming pools and so forth. So anyway, you'll find that list on GFCIs back in the index. And then the last question, I kind of like this one. I like your input on this. It says, I'm an old timer. Where new technologies, or what new technologies are out there that can help an old timer like me? My goodness, but think of the changes we have seen. We've gone from everything where we've had to try and do calculations on paper. We've got apps now on our phone, don't we? How about insulated tools? Some of you old timers out there remember the way that we insulated a screwdriver. Take some electrical tape and you wrap around that screwdriver, and we don't do that anymore. Now we have voltage rated insulated tools that we use. Lots of changes in technology as far as measuring equipment, measuring and test equipment, and so forth. So anyway, a good resource for you, EC&M magazine, right? Has all of those new technologies out there for you. So take a look through that. Anyway, hey, that's all the time we got for today to cover these little Q&A, EC&M Asks. Thanks for watching. I'm Randy Barnett. See you next time.